you pretty close to being ready?
What?
It is 7 o'clock. I will call the meeting to order. Before adopting the agenda, I don't usually make additions, but Neil Doucet had an addition. Uh, it would be the road to Major Point, and that would be in camera session. So motion for the adoption of the agenda is in order. .8 and 11.9 will be reversed in reverse order. You can make those changes. If there are no other changes, motion to a seconder would be appropriate. Hector, all in favor? Aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Carried. Are there any declarations of conflict of interest? There being none, we pass on to presentations. A was for Dr. Dantomo, but this point will not be able to be presented this evening. So we move to the Acadian Society of Clare concerning the monument for persons lost at sea. So you have the floor. First of all, thank you for having put us on the agenda. We're here to bring you up to date on where we've gotten to for the monument for persons lost at sea. The committee was formed in 2013, and we've been meeting from time to time to advance the file. We work in collaboration with the municipality of Clare, the Acadian Historical Society of St. Mary's Bay, and with a group of interested citizens. Our committee includes Louis and Laura Maillet, Norma Comeau, Marc and Nicole Baudreau, Nicole Poitier, Anne Leblanc, Marc Lavoie, Eddie Thimeau, and Victor Comeau represents the Knights of Columbus. The Deputy Warden, Brian Comeau, has also been present at our meetings. For the monument, we've worked with Heritage Memorial of Windsor, and I've gone there a number of times to discuss it with them. In your documentation, there's a sketch of the monument. It looks something like that. That gives you an idea of the size of it. David Sony made the first sketch of it with us on a computer, and you can see that the two monuments are a bit inclined, and there's a sculpture of the fisherman on top. The sculpture of the fisherman is being done by Mark Graff. He now has the block of stone, and he's started doing the work. The search for names of persons lost at sea has been done by the Acadian Centre under the supervision of Marc Lavoie. Two of his students are in the centre with Marc, and they have begun the research with the first Courrier La Nouvelle-Écosse, and they've gone through them all. They've done the Chronicle Herald and the Vanguard, and they've also done research on the internet. And Mark has also gone to Halifax and been looking in the archives. And Mark is now thinks that we've done a good research. Some names will inevitably be missing, but we can always add them later. So we think that we are at a point where we can begin to make a list of the people we want on the monument. And on the following sheet, there's an inscription. We wanted to include a message to persons drowned at sea during the deportation of the Acadians from 1755 to 1763. 3 ships sank, notably, and there were also a number of other persons who were drowned during these crossings. So we would like to add that to the monument, perhaps in the middle. and we know that there will always be names to add to the monument. The price we received from Memorial is $30,000 for the monument, and we decided to begin the financial campaign last year. We had a sale of lottery tickets, which brought in $1,000. The council had approved $15,000, and so we have collected about $14,000. Some people have offered their services as volunteers, and our student has gone to visit all of the local businesses for these 2 monuments. And she started at Saint Bernard and went to Salmon River, and the population showed quite a lot of interest, and we've started putting ads in the newspapers, and I have started calling ship captains, and a number have said that they would be contributing an amount of money. I will be calling them back because they're discussing among themselves, and I think there is interest in the community. One of the things we want to ask the municipality for, and we have been asked whether we have a charitable number. We don't have one at the Acadian Society, so we were wondering whether we could not use the number of the municipality of Clare, and that would be for the monuments. For the second point, we want to ask for the collaboration of the council for the maintenance of the monument. We want to put one at Smuggler's Cove on the land of the provincial park. The Acadian Society does not feel that it can assume the responsibility for maintenance in the post-construction period. The local member is supportive of the initiative of placing the monument on the site, but he doesn't think that the province will accept the responsibility for the maintenance of the monument after its construction. So this evening we've brought this situation to your attention, and we're hoping that the municipality will come to an agreement with the province, agreeing to maintain the monuments constructed on the lands of this provincial park. For us, maintaining the monument afterwards would be very difficult, and we are in great need of assistance for that, and we would appreciate greatly if the municipality could take charge of the monument. And the last page is an invitation Greg Kerr came to the Rendezvous l'Abbé on the 28th of uh, July uh, uh, to announce that the financing concerning the monument, and that will be at 2 p.m. at the Rendezvous l'Abbé for the 28th of July, and that's going ahead. So that's our request to the council. Are there any questions? I think that just for clarification's sake, it will be on the provincial land, and you're asking us to draw up an MOU. No. So an MOU. Do you want a MOU with the municipality and another with the province? We will be presenting a draft of what we want to send to the Minister Churchill. Depending on the decision of the councillors, we will modify the letter. The letter is asking to have the monument situated at Smuggler's Cove, and we would like to be able to say that the municipality would accept to ensure the maintenance of the monument subsequently. But that depends on what you will decide. So that's about what it is. I was discussing the matter with Gordon, and following on the decision that you will be taking, he thinks it would be just a matter of writing to Dak Churchill and to draft a document. Brian?
Maybe we could meet Churchill and maybe determine who would be responsible for insurance and maintenance. I think maintenance, I don't think the province will agree to be responsible for it, I think, as Gordon Wilson said. But as far as insurance, he did not assure that it would be their responsibility for the insurance, because it is on the property of the province. He made a comment saying that it could be insured by the province, but the maintenance would have to be done by somebody else. But I think we should meet with a member of province government or a person of natural resources to discuss this before we proceed, for maybe create an MOU, at least look at what it would look like. But I think we should do that because it's an important project for the community, and the municipality has accepted to approve 15,000 towards the project. And apart from that, maybe for maintenance it would involve something, and maybe I'm talking too much, but I think it's clear. The question for me is a question of insurance. If something happens, because it is on their land, we discussed this at the last meeting, and as Councillor Thibault said, for maintenance, maybe there could be nothing that's going to happen for 20 years. But I agree that for insurance, this needs to be discussed. I think the insurance could fall with under the insurance of the park, but it would have to be written to be sure. Connie, I don't know what is your opinion. I don't know what they're willing to do, but we should meet. We have to send a letter to start the process. So if you want to meet these people before we send a letter, it's gonna, I think you can send the letter. It's gonna take at least 6 months before we have an answer for them. But maybe we could have, uh, if you can get together right away or pretty soon, then it might make things go more rapidly. Are there any other questions or comments? When do you think the monument would be ready? It would be early next spring, rather than fall. And the park closes during the winter, though there's another concern there. So I think they don't maintain for snow. But I don't think there's nothing that you can send a letter there. Just the same, because we will have to sit down and see whether if you send a letter, it will start the process. The grass is already cut by somebody from the province. They do you have We spoke about this at the last meeting, but I think there's no problem sending the letter now because it will start the process going there. There seemed to be a consensus that the physical monument would be the responsibility of the community to do the maintenance, but in terms of province liability and insurance, it would be the province's responsibility. And in terms of the number of charity, Connie, can you answer that question? If you can use this number, if it's something that belongs to us normally, so I think we could probably use it in this case. I think it would fall within our guidelines, and we can assure that you could use it. We agree with this in principle, but there's a lot of work to get there. It will start the process moving. We will send a letter, okay? And I'm sure that Deputy Warden will keep on going to meetings and keep us up to date. Are there any other questions on other points regarding the monument? It's just a comment that this group and other groups have met many times, and we've sent a lot of letters and met a lot of meetings. There's a lot of work that has been done, and I'm glad that the project is well underway. And I'd like to congratulate all those people who have been working on this project. And on the part of council, I know, and I see being a fisherman, I see the importance of it, and I would also like to tell the Société Acadienne that this project involves a lot of hours of work, and on this project and on the Odyssey Monument, there you have done a great work, and the municipality is proud to have these monuments. Thank you. So we'll speak again later on. Thank you. So we go to number 4, adoption of minutes. June 17 to 15, regular council meeting. Are there errors or omissions? Moved by Danny, seconded by Lester. 4.2, July 8, 2015. Are there errors or omissions? proposed by Lester, seconded by Hector. All those in favor indicate by saying yes. Motion carried. 15. Business arising from previous meetings. 5.1. Request from the Havelock Fire Department. I think Neil was going to speak. It's a group that had presented a request to have a porta potty to install at the fire department place because they use it often for hockey, and we'd like to make a motion that there are other organizations that had presented this request years ago, and I'd like to add 3 more. One is at Havelock, one in Hilton at the Boss Field. Danny had asked for this 3 or 4 years ago, and at the Stella Maris School and at the Clare District High School. At these are maintained by these groups, would be maintained by these groups. So I would like to make a motion that we add 4 porta potties. Is there somebody who accept this, and then we discussed, seconded by Lester. We discussed this briefly at the last meeting here. There seemed to be a consensus, so we discussed for 2, but these are 4 of them. I was speaking to Connie, and I thought it might be a good idea if each group would present an MOU between the council and each group responsible, saying that they will do the maintenance with these. So
I don't know if that was Clare. If that was Clare, that would be a good idea. In the past, they refused because there were all these toilets and no one wanted to take care of them. So if you're in agreement with that idea, it should perhaps be included in the motion. It's not perhaps necessary as long as it's understood. So CAO is going, en anglais. I only need to know about the groups in order to know to what group I should write for the agreement that the maintenance includes supplying toilet paper, etc. Is there any further discussion on the motion? I can give you the name of the groups. Are we ready for the vote? All in favor, say aye. Against? Carried. Warden's activity report, if I can find it. 18th of June, I was at a meeting in Digby, Bay of Fundy Marine Transportation Association. This committee was set up with different municipalities and companies with the idea involved in trucking. There was some fear that the Digby ferry might not be replaced. Jim Thurber started this initiative. This was the last meeting because, as you know, last week or 2 weeks ago, the new ferry is in service. So that was a wind-up meeting. On the 25th of June, I was at the AG of the CDC in Digby. On the 26th, there was an ad here in the municipal, an announcement of the extension of the sewer system out of the federal Canadian program. Brian was here for the ceremony. He said Gordon Wilson was here as well. On the 29th, there was a meeting of the Oversight Committee of the REN. On the 29th, on the same evening, There was the board of directors of, the interpreter didn't catch it, in Yarmouth. Robert, Lester, and Hector went to Kingston to meet the Minister of Health, Leo Levine, to discuss the Acadian Villa and the possibility that it might be replaced. It was a very good meeting with the minister, and before too long there will be an announcement concerning this matter. It was worthwhile going. On the 1st of July, it was Canada Day at the Smuggler's Cove. Every year there's a good turnout, and this year was no exception. On the 8th of July, there was an announcement at the Rendezvous L'Abbé for the project in the little woods, the camping lighthouse. The lighthouse will become an observation center. So there was that announcement. The municipality was a partner in that project. ACOA put the most money, and the university and the Dame Patroness are also partners. Then there was the USM in Halifax, Innovation and Housing Approaches for Affordability. That was to look at land held in common, community land trust for senior housing, how we could do that in partnership with the private sector and non-profit groups to provide affordable housing for seniors. That was interesting. 14th of July, it was the Odyssey Monument meeting at the university, and on the 15th there was an open house for the new ferry on the Fundy route in Digby. That's my report. I left out some points so it won't be too long. For the housing meeting, is there going to be a follow-up on that? I think there was sufficient interest from the municipalities, because at the beginning of the session they asked, how many there were, how many contractors there were, etc. And when they asked for politicians, everyone raised their hand, so they were surprised at the level of meeting. So I think there will be additional sessions on this. The idea is that if we have a piece of land in common, you can create a community land trust, and then they look for people to build residences and apartments on it, and the way it's structured, the people who live there can invest and control what happens. You can use CEDICs from other municipalities, community bonds they're called. That's one of the options. There are different structures and different methods of financing these initiatives. It seems interesting. Are there any other questions? If there being none, we go to 7. Official statements from Council. Lester? I was asking for a certificate for Michael Maillet. He was named Bus Driver of the Year, so I will be giving that information to Alain, and we could put that on a certificate for him. Brian? I would like to mention that Melvin Boudreau of Metegan River has received a medal from the Légion d'honneur in France, a Legion of Honor. And this was reported in the Courrier de la Nouvelle-Écosse. Melbourne Boudreau, formerly of Metegan River, has been honored by France with the Medal of the Legion of Honor. He received this distinction for his role in the liberation of France in Normandy during D-Day, during the landing in Normandy in 1944 at the end of the Second World War. Mr. Boudreau was a member of the Royal Canadian Navy, and he was on the minesweeper Ash Kenora, which prepared the coast for the landing on D-Day. Members of his family were present on the 17th of June last at the Acadian Villa. It is the greatest honor which France can discern. And there was a meeting of the board on the 23rd of June, and I spoke to him and congratulated him. But now he is accompanied by his uh, his wife Rosalind, who is now also a resident of the villa. They are together in the villa, and after the council sent him a certificate, I'm asking for a certificate to be sent to him on behalf of the council. All in agreement with that? Yes. Any other presentations?
Correspondence. 8.1 request from Villa Acadienne. We discussed this at the committee meeting. I think there was a consensus to give some amount of money for this. We propose that the municipality will accept 11.4. There's a motion there. We can do it now. The resolution is done, seconded by Hector. Is there any discussion on this motion? If no, all those in favor indicate by saying yes. 8.2 request for a letter of support from LIP. Good morning, LIP and Anne. Please find information to help you present to council to confirm the participation of the municipality for a partnership with the CDNE. Would like to have a letter of participation before the 24th of July so that we can ask this at our request. I'd like to give you an example of a letter that could be sent. We would like to collaborate more with you with this stimulating project, and we are ready to answer any questions. Cordially yours, Gaston Saunier, Economic Immigration Officer. Last week, Gaston came here 2 weeks ago at Council Committee. The plea is the local partnership in immigration, and what the CDNE they are asking for support from council, saying that we'd be a partner with the CDNE and the municipality of Argyle regarding this project. From what I understand, the employer, everything will be administered by the CDNE, and our responsibility would be to participate as a representative from our government to the recruitment process, offer help to find a place where the staff would be placed, and also we could also, from what I understand, the partnership with immigration is not to help immigration, But once somebody is in the region who have immigrated here in Clare, uh, they would be working with a working committee in the community to find out ways to uh, find ways to receive them in a better way so that they are better integrated in the community. It is not a project that costs us anything, it's just a CDNE that will uh, take the responsibility on. At 11.3 we have a motion to create a partnership. So most of the time it is not the correspondence and the motion later on, but the fact that they made a presentation last week. That's why we are ready probably tonight to make a decision. We had 2 weeks to think about this. So we can make the motion now or wait at 11.3. The reason I'm saying this is because the administrator of the CDNE is here, and he's probably here to see if we're going to accept this or not. Do you want to make a motion and talk about it now, or do you want to wait till 11.4? I think we should make the motion now, if you all agree. Does anybody want to make a motion? I propose. I move that the municipality of Clare enter into a partnership non-financial between le Conseil de Développement Économique de Nouvelle-Écosse, CDENE, the municipality of Clare and the municipality of Argyll on a local immigration partnership. Somebody seconds this? Second by Dennis. Is there any discussion on this motion? We had the presentation last week and council has asked many questions, but it wasn't televised, so if you have any comments to make, it is a good initiative, and we all agreed that we should do this to help people welcome immigrants in our community. I think it's a good project. We had a lot of discussion, like I said at the last meeting, so if you're ready for the questions, the vote, all those in favor indicate by saying yes. Against, motion carried. So there, we will advance a bit. 8.3 request for letter of support by agriculture. Willow.
So that's the letter. If we want to provide a letter of support under 11.2, there's a motion to that effect. We go to 9, report of the CAO, Connie. To begin, I will repeat the news of the warden to say that the application of the municipality for funding under the New Building Canada Fund, Small Communities Fund, for the extinction of the sewer system in Meteghan has been approved. This occurred on the 26th of June. Now we are waiting to go to public tender shortly. There will be advertisements shortly in the papers, and the work will begin at AF Thériault and will go almost to the Placid Como Road in Meteghan River, and the project will begin this fall as soon as the tenders come in and the winning tender approved. Late this fall, I imagine. It depends how quickly the the the, the tenders go out. At the end of July. How will that affect ice cream in Meteghan River? I think it won't be till the end of September. It will take a while for that to go to tender and for the contract to be awarded. It will take some time. And I would like to take this opportunity to inform the residents of Clare of the decision which I recently made concerning my position as CAO of the municipality of Clare. I want to say first of all that I've greatly enjoyed working as the Chief Administrative Officer, and that time has gone by very quickly given that the retirement age is not very far away, just a few years away. I've been reflecting for a good plan for my successor on given the recent report. The position of Director of Finances was created earlier this year, and so far the municipality has not filled this post. So I approached the council to ask them whether they would allow me to transfer my position from CAO to Director of Finances for the rest of my years of employment with the municipality before my retirement. This would allow me to work in a position which is somewhat less demanding concerning hours of work. This would allow me to work in an area of work in which I have always liked to work. I remember when I was a young girl, when my father taught me how to add and subtract in the thousands before I began primary school, and the love of arithmetic has always remained with me. So I am happy to announce that the council has accepted my request and that we have waited for an acceptable transition date, which is the 2nd of January 2016. This date will give reasonable time to the council to find a new Director General, a CAO. During this time, I will continue in my functions as CAO, and I will act as well as Director of Finances. I will also be available to assist the new CAO in the orientation of his or her position. I want to thank the council to have approved my application and for having given me the opportunity to work in such a pleasant and gratifying workplace during these 8 years. And for the years to come, it is certainly a pleasure to work for the municipality, and I thank you very much. on behalf of the council, I certainly want to thank you. So I would want to thank you, but you haven't finished. But we have been asked to make this change. It was a bit of a surprise for the council, but you took the time to explain the reasons behind it, and this will certainly improve your life. So the council has certainly understood the reasons and is very happy for you that you have been able to make this decision. We won't say that we will miss you because you'll be here for the coming meetings, but we are certainly pleased that you have chosen to remain within the organization and to contribute your skills and abilities to our organization, and we are very happy with that. We're not going to say au revoir because it won't be until the end of December, but we do want to recognize all of your years of service, and your work has been very appreciated by the council, and I want to thank you in the behalf of the council and all the residents of Clare. That being said, it's difficult to continue on with the agenda, but we are obliged. A bit later, we will adopt motions in relation with those changes. That's at the end of the meeting. We now go on to committee reports. 10.1, Building Permits Report, Danny Hill. Yeah. We go on to 10.2, the economic development. There will be a motion to remove this from agendas very soon. Communication committee no longer exists. The planning advisory committee, Danny Hill, no meeting. Recreation committee, Neil, you had your last meeting? Yes, we had a last meeting on the 25th of June. The committee approved $200 for the development of trainers and referees for individuals, $100 to Anne Como to obtain her certification as a referee, and $100 to Shane Robichaud for her referee's certificate. The committee approved $3,926 for the program of assistance to committee recreation, Colette Gavo for participation in the bowling championship in Oshawa, and $73 to Tyler Thibodeau for the national championships in bowling, also in Ottawa, to represent Clare, and Nova Scotia. $500 to University of St. Anne for a marathon to take place in September, and $500 for Club Vélo for a clinic for young people in the community, $1,500 to the Bay Anjois for to dance for a week at the Acadian Festival in France. The community, we wish them a very good trip. And for the parade of the Acadian Festival on the 16th of August, we have received, I think, a letter asking whether we want to participate in the form of a float.
Are there any questions, comments for Neil? If not, Villa Acadienne, is there anything? The Council of the Villa Acadienne had its general meeting on June 23rd. The council is made up of 4 members of some of council, myself, Randy Leblanc, Councillor Hector Thibault and Robert Thibault. And the members of the public are Eric Potier, Marcel Cotreau. There were an election of officers. Eric Potier has accepted the presidency and myself have accepted the vice presidency, so nothing changed for the last 3 or 4 years. The villa received its annual budget at the beginning of June, and the budget total was $6,008,043, and half of the budget is given to salaries. Then the majority of the budget includes over $4 million for salaries, and also there are 150 employees at the Villa Acadienne celebrating its 40th anniversary. The Villa Acadienne has opened its doors August 4th, 1975 with 45 beds. Today it has 80 beds, and to celebrate this important event, the Villa, they will have a float in the parade of the Acadian Festival this summer, and on August 5th there will be open door day with activities and refreshments, and there will be things to eat like a pork roast, salads and cake. So all the public will be invited to this open house. We'll have to go to the villa on that day. Are there any questions or comments? If not, thank you. With check. There was no meetings. New business motion regarding the new committee structure of governance. This has to do with organizational review when the restructuring and the 3 committees that will not exist anymore. There will be one department of community development according to the report. This department should have an advisory committee, and I think they suggested we do this, so there will have a motion to accept this nouvelle structure. I move that the municipality of Clare eliminate the Standing Committee for Recreation, Tourism and Economic Development and create a new governance structure as identified in the 2015 Municipality of Clare Organizational Study Report. Somebody seconds. Is there any discussion? Before we go, the Department of Recreation, I believe, in the last month has received 4 requests for financing. So will it be that committee that will look at these requests? They're waiting for an answer to see if it will be accepted or not. So will it be a committee as a whole that accept these requests? There's requests, groups. The consultant says that the request should be presented to council because the Department of Recreation is not there, the committee is not there anymore. The way I understand this, it was suggested to proceed as many of the things that we do on recreation is based on policies, existing policies. So if you go to a provincial event, if these fall into the policies, Andrea can still present recommendations to council. I think that she was already presenting requests for the committee. Andrea was doing this. Okay. And even if with time they will come and present reports here, maybe not right away but later on. So these 4 people who have presented requests or groups, how will they be treated? It's one of them karate tournament in Japan. Those that have already been. No, these are new requests since our last recreation meeting. Since then, there are 4 or 5 requests that have been presented. So they're here. What happens? It's not maybe too late, but we could treat these requests as soon as possible. Maybe we could give Andrea the. I think my suggestion is that she prepares a recommendation if council approves this. If she gives them to Connie, and if you agree with them, because there are policies that cover these requests. If we only have next meeting in September, we had spoken that Pam and Odette and Andrea, the 3 of them could treat these requests for financing, and they could then we do. So until we have a structure in place, we can proceed this way, and maybe it will stay like that afterwards if you agree with this. So in terms of the structure, before I go to the question, the idea was to explain to the public is that we had the Department of Economic Development, Tourism and Recreation that were working essentially in each of their departments, but were not working as they probably should have been as a group. Now it will be under an umbrella of community development. The Grand Fondo is a perfect example of the cooperation of 3 departments with involves development. Community development is working together, so it does give us more resources. That was the reasoning why the group had suggested this new structure. So is there any other questions on this motion? Ready for the question? All those in favor indicate by saying yes. Motion carried. 11.2, motion for letter of support. This has to do with willow agriculture that Connie read earlier. We have a presentation at the last meeting of council, so I don't know if you want to discuss this, if you want to make the motion and then discuss it. I move that the municipality of Clare write a letter of support, non-financial, for a project associated with mink waste reduction and energy crop production, willow agriculture. Somebody who seconds this? Seconded by Danny. Any discussion on this motion? I think it's a good project that we should pursue, see what's going to happen. Essentially, it's a research to see if they can use the mink waste in agriculture, which would help. I don't.
Is there any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Against? Carried. 11.5, motion. These are the 2 motions for the villa and the CD and EE. 11.5 is a motion to approve the Western Regional Enterprise Network Liaison and Oversight Committee terms of reference. We already had adopted these, but the province has eliminated the ERDT, and there was a representative of the DRDT in the terms of reference and in the intermunicipal agreement. So you have the changes in front of you. They are highlighted in red. There's nothing that really changes the intention or the municipality. A lot of the changes have to do with the fact that a member will be missing. On page 6, for example, it says 2 members will be appointed by the province instead of 3. Most of the changes come under that, and the other big change was that the committee came under the Liaison and Oversight Committee, but the province wants to consider it as a subcommittee of the REN. The Audit Committee will be part of the REN and not part of the Liaison and Oversight Committee. And that's a recommendation of the province, and the other RENs have adopted that as well. Danny. In English. So, having said all that, if you have no further concerns, a motion to adopt would be in order. You have motions in the paper package. So will someone make the motion? The first. Intermunicipal agreement. That's the first one in the package. Seconded by Hector. Is there discussion on this motion? We have discussed this at length. Next would be a motion to approve the terms of reference. When we were discussing yesterday, they were attached together. The other motion is in your package. I should have separated them, but when I was discussing in committee, we always talked about them together. So the dernier motion is in the package you received by computer, second last. I move that the municipality of Clare approve the terms of reference for the Western Region Enterprise Network Liaison and Oversight Committee, including the Digby and a number of other municipalities. That's not the correct text. That's in paper. in the paper version. It's been changed. The liaison committee, it hasn't been, that's the one we haven't done yet. I move that the municipality of Clare approve the terms of reference for the liaison and oversight committee for the Western Regional Enterprise Network as submitted on the 3rd of June 2015. That has more to do with the committee, with the liaison and oversight committee. Is there a seconder? Is there a discussion on the motion? All in favor, say aye. Against? Carried. Excuse me for putting the two together. We needed two motions. We now go to a motion to enter into a memorandum of understanding with the Department of Health and Wellness. Did you want to speak on that? This was just for the MPAL program to renew an agreement to set up the physical activity leadership program. Probably Brian is better able to explain this than I am. It would be for a position to work on these programs and to work on an agreement with the province. The coordinator of Active Life, Odette Comeau, her term terminates in October this year, so we should determine whether we could continue with that position. The more we have staff to organize activities, the better it is for the municipality and for the community. The council felt that the position should be continued for another 5 years, so we move that this position be another 5 years. Odette has decided that she will not be working in that position anymore for personal reasons, but we still need an agreement with the province because the province pays 50% of $20,000 or $25,000, and it will certainly support the position for another 5 years. So there's a motion prepared for that. Do you want to make the motion? I can make it. I move that the municipality of the District of Clare enter into an MOU with the Department of Health and Wellness for a period of 5 years to provide qualified leadership development and implementation of a comprehensive physical activity strategy through a program known as the Municipal Physical Activity Leadership Program, and also to extend the contract for an active living coordinator for a period of 5 years. Is there a seconder? Neil, is there a discussion on the motion? I could perhaps say that one reason that it's a good project is that the province pays 25,000, not percent, and not for $20,000. We have an employee of the municipality who works for the well-being and health of the population, a full-time employee for 5 years. That being said, if Odette has terminated in October, it is certain that Connie will begin the process to hire a replacement. An advertisement is ready to go as soon as the motion is passed.
I received a lot of compliments on her work, on her work, and how she was fun to work with, and she did well with all the programs she worked on. It is hard for us to lose her, but she made her decision for her own well-being. We're glad for her, but we will miss her work. Are there any other questions on the motion? All those in favor indicate by saying yes. Motion carried. 11.8 motion regarding the CAO. These motions are in your the end of the package. These three motions are essentially related to accept the request that Connie made to Council regarding her change of position at the municipality. So to make it official, we need these motions. We need the first one. The first one we motions to rate changes to CEO. Oh, it's all the same thing. So the position to go. There's three motions. The first one is to somebody make the first one. Which one? Somebody second this. Lester. Is there any discussion on this? It looks like it's a weird motion to make, but we already discussed this earlier. There are no discussion. All those in favor indicate by saying yes. Against, motion carried. The second motion, another motion to appoint her in her new position. Would somebody to make this motion, Lester? I move that the Council for the Municipality of Clare confirm the appointment of Connie Sonia to the Director of Finance position, effective January 3rd, 2016, in accordance with the job description as prepared by the consulting firm of Richard G. Ramsey Management Consultants, Inc. Seconded by Danny. Any discussion on this? If not, all those in favor indicate by saying yes. Against, motion carried. That's another one. Change then. Because of the resignation effective on the 2nd of January 2016, the municipality will need to start looking for another CEO to fill this position. So we need a motion that the municipality we have discussed that we wanted to hire a firm to help us. It's a practice done by a lot of municipalities, and it's a good way to carry forward this. I mean, we need that the municipality of Clare issue a request for proposals to firms, individuals interested in the recruitment of a new chief administrative officer. Somebody second this? Danny? Is there any discussion on this? So essentially, it still looks a bit weird to be saying this, but in a few days, I would believe. We will look, uh, try to find a firm to help us find a new CAO. So saying this, if there is no further discussion, all those in favor indicate by saying yes. Motion carried. So it's official. Certainly a big change for the municipality, and we hope that it's a good change for us and for Connie. It's not as if you're going, so we'll be seeing you, but we'll offer you our best wishes when you do leave. And then we have a dead whale on the beach. Neil? Yes, there's an individual who told me that there was a dead whale around Sebanot. It's a small whale. There are people who have a natural resource environment came to do research on it and samples. Apparently it was hit by a boat. It is on the beach in Sebanot. They were asking what we do with the carcass. I think it will. We don't know whether it's going to return to the sea with the high tides, but it's not good for environment. A lot of people go dig clams there, so it might do something with the clam. There are wells that are quite close to this. They're wondering if the waste will go in the land, seep in the land. DNR, which is in charge, I'm not sure who is responsible for such a situation. Connie, you have faced this scenario some years ago. I'll have to do a bit of research to see. Wasn't there one at the Cape? Maybe that. There's one in Sonyville. I think it was Natural Resources that took care of that one. Somebody said it was the responsibility of the municipalities, but we didn't think it was. I think the responsibility nobody really knows. I've seen the UNSM speak about it, and they'd like the province to assume responsibility in such situations, but I don't think it's been written down. So Connie will look into this. So I guess that's the last item on the agenda. There's one item that on the Puerto Major Road that will be done in camera. There will not be any motions that will come out of that item. Essentially, for people who are listening to us on internet and the public, I will say good evening, and we have one item, and we'll adjourn afterwards. Thank you. We need